Okay, are you ready, Dr. Zhang? Dr. Zhang?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Just need to just make sure my the slides can actually working. It's kind of freeze, but give me 1 second. Okay, finally, I think it's working now.
Okay, all right, we will get started.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carol Plackey. I'm the speaker coordinator for NMGIC, and I'd like to welcome you today to the third talk in the NMGIC Fall Virtual Geoseminar Series. Today, our presenter is Dr. Su Zhang. Dr. Su Zhang is the IT and Operations Manager of the Earth Data Analysis Center, EDAC, at the University of New Mexico. He is also an assistant research professor of the UNM's Department of Civil Construction and Environmental Engineering, and an assistant professor of the UNM's Department of Geography and Environmental Studies. Dr. Zhang is a geospatial engineering and scientist who specializes in the integration of geospatial technologies into decision support systems. He has over 12 years' experience in remote sensing of transportation, and his current research focuses on leveraging GIS, remote sensing, web mapping, and unmanned aircraft system, UAS, for transportation, infrastructure management, and construction management. He has been contracted by various federal, state, and local agencies to design and test spatial decision support systems. The topic of his talk today is New Mexico's major initiative on digitizing, archiving, and accessing historical aerial photo projects. A few announcements before we get started on the talk. First of all, we're going to have a raffle at the end. Please stick around, as you must be present to win. And if your name is drawn, please provide us your email address so that we can contact you to send you your items. And secondly, as the talk progresses, if you have questions, please put them in the chat window. At the end of the talk, before the raffle, we'll have a Q&A session, and we'll address all the questions at that time. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and enjoy the talk.
Thank you, Carol. I'm gonna turn off my camera, web camera, just to save some bandwidth for everybody. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Carol, for the introduction. So yeah, so this presentation is a part of our project we got like a couple years ago. Basically, we are trying to do a major initiative on digitizing, archiving, and accessing to historical aerial photo for the state of New Mexico, basically. So we. Okay, so the project, this is just a project overview. So this project is a 3 years project. It has been funded by National Archives and Records Administration. They have a commission called the National Historical and Publications and Records Commission. So this is part of the National Archives. So they funded us for this project, which is 3 years from 2019 to 2022. So as part of the project, we have to process 30,000 historical aerial photos. We have to scan them, geo-reference them, create metadata, index them, archive them, and make them web accessible. We also have to develop a web application just to enable like online geo-referencing, bounding box display, and also spatial search. So I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with these terms. But really, I put the developer, web application development later, but actually as part of the project, we have to develop the web application first to enable online georeferencing, and then we can do georeferencing from there. The project team is actually involves pretty much everybody at EDAC. I'm listing the EDAC's organizational chart here, but as you can see that, our GS group, IT group, remote sensing group, and also geospatial data clearinghouse is all involved in this project. So, so the project PIs are me and Shirley Barros and myself, and our lead developer on this project is Hayes Barrett, and our developer is another developer is Tyler Eshelman. We also have our system analyst, which is Esmer Martinez. We also have our research and information manager, Sandeep Talisala, and also Lisa Sinclair and Paul Neville, who are our GS analysts and programmers. And now, as of now, we are on the second year, the project year, I mean, and then the web application, as we proposed, has been successfully developed. As of today, actually, literally today, we have 30,633 historical aerial photos have been processed. So now when we talk about scanned, we scanned out all these 30,633 image. We georeferenced 19,861 of them. Of course, we documented them and also created the index for the rows of the films. And also we web published them also. So I just want to give you a little bit background of why we do these projects and where the project come from. So, when we talk about the state of New Mexico, I think probably some people don't realize that we are the 5th largest state in the whole United States, and we are really rich in cultural history here. We have 3 federally protected Native American communities. This include Navajo, Pueblo, and Apache. We also have 6 national forests. We have 18 national parks. We also, New Mexico is really important to America's history, culture, archaeology, environment, tourism, the economy. And so that's why New Mexico is rich in aerial photo acquisition, primarily through different programs, but primarily through state programs, federal and state partnered programs, and also privately funded programs. We have quite a few aerial survey firms across the whole state. So they have been collecting aerial photos for different projects. So, we have really a lot of aerial photo, especially historical aerial photo. So, what is aerial photography, right? So this is just really quickly walk through what it is. It is basically the taking of photos of the ground from manned aircraft or manned aircraft. So, if we talk about aerial photos, I think primarily most of them still collected from manned aircraft, but more and more recently we can see that they have been collecting by UAS. Prior to 1990s, we usually do with a large format film cameras, and then we collect the image and then printed them on a 9x9 inch photographic paper. So what I'm showing you the picture here, this is really the film cameras, but they are large format. They have a lot of mechanism parts, and then we collect the image and printed them on the photographic paper. But post the 1990s, we still use a large format digital camera, or now with the small format, commercial off-the-shelf cameras for the UAS. But either way, we collect them with digital cameras, and also we can view them on computers and edit them on computers. Of course, we still can print them out on a 9x9 inch photographic paper. But more recently, because all the image processing tools is computer-based, so we usually just view them, edit them on the computers. So aerial photos really give us a synoptic view of the Earth's surface, right? So it can document the historical and cultural landscape of a large area at the time the photos were taken. And think about it as more like a snapshot, right? So when the time you collect the photo, it's being recorded, it won't be change anything. at that moment, or from that moment. So, and then we print them, of course, on the his photogrammetric paper. And photograph, it is actually, I consider aerial photo is like a photographic documents. So it is not like a textual documents, right? It's not like a book. It's not like a paper or some article, so or newspaper. It is a photographic document. And when you take a aerial photo, you have no topical selection. You don't have a target you're trying to take the photo for, right? So when you do this photo mission, you just map the whole ground. You have no topical selection and also no human interpretation. So one of the problems with the historical documents, especially when they are textual documents, most of the time it involves human interpretation, right? So how they understand the background, how they interpret the background is really matters for later. Think about 50 years from now, what you write on your a notebook, for example, you may interpret it differently, even 2 years later. So that's why it gives you really objective photographic documents. And the aerial photo is really they have much higher spatial resolution than satellite image that are freely available. So think about like a Landsat or something like that. But for commercial satellite image, of course, they have comparable or maybe higher spatial resolution image than the aerial photo. But I'm talking about they have much higher spatial resolution than the satellite image that are freely available to us. And most of the aerial photos, they are panchromatic, black and white, and also natural color and the color infrared. And we have records actually go back to 1920s. And this aerial photo is really useful for many fields, including historical and cultural research or studies, archaeology, land use and land cover studies, urban planning, environmental assessment, map making, etc. So the list goes on. Really, we could use it for many fields. It's recent. At our EDAC photo program, some people even using the historical aerial photos for water rights, disputation, or maybe some property disputation, right? So this is all really valuable records. And also, like I said, they are important historical records, and especially when they are geo-referenced. I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with the georeferencing, but basically, georeferencing is it is a process that assigning ground coordinates to each pixel of a non-spatial aerial photo in order to define its locations in the real world, right? So when they are georeferenced, we can observe the landscape as it was in the past, right? So because the georeference, we can also do a measurement on the ground, although maybe because it's not auto correction, so maybe the accuracy of the measurement is not accurate, but it has still give you a ballpark, in terms of the measurement, in terms of distance, for example. And also we can recover information about historic and cultural landscape that have been lost to modern development, right? So you can you cannot, especially when it's hard for you to document that in a piece of paper, so you can still recover the information from a visual way. And also, especially when they are multi-temporal photos, you can do change detection. So for example, I have been showing you for the same area, both photos has been georeferenced. One is in 1979, one is in 1982. And you think about 1979, the 79 image is time 1 and 82 image is time 2. So when you have time 1, time 2 image, you can see the development in that area, especially in this area. You can see that the houses has been developed and the infrastructure. This is so that's why we want to keep them georeference. Even they are not georeferences, it's still valuable record, but especially when they are georeferenced, it will be more useful. So why we do this? Why we do this? Why we want to archive this or scanning and georeferencing the image? Because the creation and the survival of all these photos have not been even, right? Because they are, some of them collected by a really well-established program, and some of them being collected by private firms, but they don't have the standard, right? And they are no standard across the board. And also routinely, they are being collected in the US and New Mexico since 1930s, but most of them still in like a film base, not being georeferenced. And also because they can provide the longest available and spatially continuous visual records. And I'm also pretty sure they certainly continue to grow, due to high demands. For example, we still have the NAPE image being collected, the National Agricultural Imaging Program. We also have, for example, in New Mexico, we have the Mr. Cog area collecting the 6-inch resolution image. I'm pretty sure it continues to grow, especially when now UAS joined the aerial platform for collecting this data. So we're gonna have a lot of records being collected since in recent years, and certainly to grow. But unfortunately, most of the historical aerial photos collected by state agencies and private firms, they remain undigitized and ungeoreferenced on aging film rolls. So that's why we take this initiative. We're going to georeference them. We're going to digitize them. We're going to georeference them and make them publicly available at no cost. So how we do it, right? So firstly, we did some public product publicity. So we kind of like reported our product on a traditional media, including Communication and Marketing, New Mexico Library Association, and also the KRQE News 13 channel. We also do on social media, including Twitter and Facebook. So Sandeep is actually updating our monthly post on both Facebook and Twitter. This is a news report led by And we also develop a project website. It is developed by Hayes and Tyler, based on JavaScript, HTML, and Python. It should be noted that this website also serving as a portal for accessing all our tools that has been developed for this project. So for this website, we do controlled access. We have, for the users, they can have 4 different roles. So one is the administrator level. At this level, you can access any of the tools. And also we have QC level, and then this is kind of like a limit, has some limitation there, and also data manager and the regular users. So as of you also can, all of you can use this tool. If you go to historicalaerialphotos.org, that's the website link. That's the URL. You can just go to login. They have a login tool, and then you can log in with your Google account even, or use your ORCID ID. And this is kind of like OAuth, access for this website. So you don't have to register an account with us. You can just use your Google account, and this is pretty secure. Of course, you can register an account with us. So for this website, we have different sections. We have a home section, fund data, contribute data. So for example, you inherited some historical aerial photos from your family members or your friends or anybody, and you want to contribute to this initiative, you can click that button and then contribute. You also can get some FAQ and different tabs there. We also have this big square box here, and then this is all for your easy access to know, for example, you want to browse our archive, you want to view some galleries. So this is all can go from there. And also you can join our listserv, and when we send out an announcement or some news, you can get the email. You won't miss it. So like I said, you can log in as a regular user, But if you register with us, you can be promoted to a data manager or QA/QC or even administrator, but depend on the scope of the contribution you can do. But definitely that's all possible. So for the project website, if you click on the fund data or browse data, you can find this catalog here. You can see that we catalog our scanned image or by years. So you can all the way go back to 1934 and up to 1990s. And also some of them could be collected by BLM or and also we have this NAIRA here. Once you expand it, you can see the same structure here. But either way, so once you click this, this is give you the list of the photos have been webly, web published. And part of the tool we can do with this website is also you can do a bounding box display. For example, you highlight one of the image on this panel here, or for ID County part of the photo, and then it's being highlighted on the right-hand panel here to matching that photo. So vice versa, right? So if you highlight here on this right-hand panel, this photo on this panel will be also highlighted. You can also do spatial search, regular, I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to do spatial search. So once you once you click the button here, spatial search, a blue dot will appear, and then you select your area. For example, in this case, I select this area. And once I define my spatial search bounding box, and then you can see that all the rest of the photos being filtered out, and only the 2 photos in that area will be just showing on the middle panel, just tell you what these 2 images are. It should be noticed that now we can only do that photos are completely within this bounding box. If they are intersected with the bounding box or partly within the bounding box, it won't work. But the solution for that is you just try, if you define a bounding box that doesn't work for you, you can try to expand it a little bit so you won't miss anything. But fortunately, most of the photos, they have really small coverage on the ground, so you won't miss that much, when you do spatial search. So this is we call, when you log in, even as a regular user or administrator level, you can see this dashboard. We call it a narrow dashboard. As you can see that we have different tools here. You can add a new product. You can do pre-processing. Basically, pre-processing is like you put in some metadata, you put some information for the image you are trying to georeference, and then after that you can do georeference, and then we'll do an internal QA/QC, make sure the photo is really lined up well with the reference image, and then we can also add news. So as an administrator level, like I said, you have access to all these tools, all these 5 tools. But as a regular user, you can see that you have controlled access. This one has been restricted. As a regular user, you can only do pre-process or georeferencing the data, right? So that's the only 2 tools you'll be available to you, basically. So when you do add a new product, like I said, you can just put in the information, and most of the time we may have the image internally in our network drive, so we can do the source directory and also the destination directory. You can choose a reference, from the list. You can also update the new reference. I don't have the time to go through the details, but basically with this tool, you can set up your georeferencing framework here. What's the reference you want to use? Also put in some metadata, for example, abstracts and the purpose, and add some keywords, and the beginning data and end data of that project. Everything you can input here. Now, the second step is trying to, you start doing pre-processing, is also kind of like zooming into a level of the reference image relatively that covers your image that to be georeferenced, right? So you just trying to locate where that should be. Now, because our reference image is all like a more recent image, so a lot of the topographic information or the features on the ground may have been changed. So you are So this process may take you some time to find the exact location of the image where it is located. But fortunately, when you upload this image here, like I mentioned here, if you have a flight path or any sort of reference information, and then we can georeferencing this flight path map first, and then because that flight path also have the photo information there, so you can associate relatively find a close location. Because this this process may take some time, so this is probably the most time consuming part. And then after that, you can start your traditional, your most famous way to do georeferencing. You put your ground control points, you're trying to match them. You can see that we have different ground control points here. We have, this is 7 ground control points. Of course, if you put one point that you don't think like is not working well, you can delete them. You can click the button here, delete them, or put a new one. And then at the same time, we can, on the fly, we'll calculate the root mean square error. So basically, this tells you how close your georeferencing is. And within one root mean square error, that means 68% of your ground control points, their error is within that root mean square number there. Once you finish all the georeferencing process, you can either accept it, or you need a revision, or you reset. You can go from there. So for the georeferencing tool, actually about 6 months ago or 5 months ago, one of our lead developer, Hayes Barrett, he has provided another presentation about how to use our online georeferencing API. So if you don't want to use our web application or the website, you can do you can use our API to do the georeferencing. Please go back there to watch what you have been, if you want to use the API. But bottom line is that this API really user friendly, and you can do 2 types of two format using this API. You can just using supply all the points or the ground control points, and then you can do the kind of like one-time georeferencing, or you can use the tools as a user interface as a part of the API. So you can use without the user interface or with the user interface. So really flexible. And also as a part of the product, we are trying to publish 2 journal articles. One with focus on the web application is APIs. So that one will be our target journal is ISPRS, International Journal of Geoinformation. And also the overall product design, we're going to publish in the Journal of Maps and Geography libraries. And as part of the web application, the backend database of the web application is actually GStore. It is the full name for GStore is Geographic Storage Transformation and Retrieval Engine. So and it can be used to discover and access to geographic data that are compliant with the national standards and best practice, like OGC, Open Geographic Consortium. And it's also the backend database ARGIS, the Resource Geographic Information System of New Mexico. So I'm posting the architecture of the ARGIS or GStore here. So how it works, as you can see that it meets our requirements. It has been working well. Definitely, we have been beneficial from this design. But I'm gonna talk about some future plan, how we update this. But this just to give a high, like an overall picture how we do, how we use our GStore or how we designed it. And in terms of digitizing, once we finish the web application development, once we have the online georeferencing tool, now Sandeep and Lisa, they come in, they work on the digitizing and the scanning of the product. So you can see that our aerial photos, historical photos, has been in these canisters, and then we put them into our scanner. This is a photographic photographic scanner. We also have flatbed scanners. We have 3 of these, and we have 1 of these. So you can see that this is a film here. You put it in that row here, and then it goes through and scanning it. This is our archive room, and this is all the photos we have. And then once they have been scanned, we'll put them in our archive room, and part of the storage of the digital version of the image will be in our state-of-the-art server room at EDAC here. This is all the ArcGIS data, everything is in this server room. So that's why we have really security, really good. We have also a climate control system. We also have fire suppression system. So how we make the program sustainable, right? That's a big question. So because of this major initiative, so we want to keep it, we want it as evolve, we want it as sustainable. So as of now, I'm working on seeking additional funding. So I'm talking to federal agencies such as National Endowment for Humanities. They have a historical collection or record program there. So they also looking for all these valuable historical records. So I'm working with them. We are trying to get additional funding from them to keep georeferencing them, because at EDAC, we have about 400,000. So 400,000 images in total that need to be scanned and georeferenced. We are also working with state agencies such as New Mexico DOT and also Office State Engineer, trying to see if we can do some sort of collaborative program together to save these valuable records. We are also working with local agencies such as cities. They may also have some of the really valuable record they are willing to share with us or share with the entire geospatial community. And also out-of-state agencies such as the Florida Department of Transportation. As a matter of fact, I just have a meeting with them 2 months ago. They saw our program. They're really interested in. They have about 1 million records, and they want to know how we can partner together to get the program running. They, basically they may use our online georeferencing tool or using our scanning services here at EDAC or georeferencing services, and then to help them to finish that long 1 million list. So now part of the thing as part of the program, our future work we want to do is a GStore upgrade. So we as our IT group here at EDAC, we want to completely rewrite the whole GStore in Python. So now a GStore is being written in different language, and then we integrate them together. But now our plan is trying to rewrite them in Python. Right? Python is kind of like the most popular programming language now in the IT field, and also being really popular amongst data scientists and also the scientific community. And that which we will focus on increase the stability, functionality, and also expandability of the program of the platform, ArcGIS or GStore we call it. And it is like I said, it's a backend of ArcGIS. So now when you look at this architecture here, it's much easier and much cleaner than the previous version we have now. And one of the things I really want to highlight is this WBGL services. So our plan with that services, we can do LiDAR data services, airborne LiDAR data services. So like WMS, WFS, or WCS for your vector or raster data, we're gonna have LiDAR services. So you can preview point cloud, you can preview a shaded relief, you can preview a DSM or DEM from that LiDAR data. So, and before you download them, right? So most of LiDAR tiles really like larger size. So when we have this preview function or the services function, you can decide if you're gonna download them before, you can check them out before you download them. So Another thing, future work, actually I'm working on a proposal, is that we want to do machine learning based georeferencing. So as of now, our georeferencing process still involve human input, right? So you have to select all the ground control points. So part of the thing we are going to do is going to do machine learning based. So we just develop a training set. It will have limited human input, and it will greatly increase the productivity. So the whole concept really, really easy, as I'm showing you in the diagram here. So we have the reference image, which is already georeferenced. And then we have the historical aerial image, which is not georeferenced. So we input these two images, and then the image will go through a convolutional neural network. And then they're trying to find the matching features or matching ground control points, as you show on the top of the diagram here. And then you have the output with a georeference layer. So the concept is easy, but doesn't mean that the process is easy, right? So I believe our EDIC IT group has the capacity to develop this. So now we are working on a proposal on that, trying to do this, enable this machine learning based georeferencing. I don't think there are a lot of people talking about this yet, especially in the historical context, historical aerial photo context, because one of the major challenge is that, because the historical photos, the ground feature may change over the years, so make it really hard to do the georeferencing. But one of the benefits do they here EDIC is because we have so many records of this historical air photo. So when we build our reference image, we don't have to build our reference image based on recent image. We could do back to so if the image we are trying to georeference in 1940s, we could build a library based on the image of 1940s. So we have the record. Another thing we want to do, build upon the program, build upon this historical air photo, is we are trying to do a machine learning based change detection. So as I'm showing you here, we can do a semantic and labeling and annotation. So you have time 1 image on the back end, and you have time 2 image. So through that convolutional neural network, we can see that where the change has been, we can also count. For example, if our object of interest is structures, we can see that labeling all the structures that have been changed in that, through the development here. And then we can see that the total structure by years. So in 1959, we have about 50 structure in that area, but in 1962, that's jumped to 250 structures. So we can do analytics, we can do descriptive statistics from this image. So which I think will be really beneficial for a lot of the audience. Well, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you, NMGIC for inviting me for this presentation. And I also want to thank National Archives and the Records Administration for providing the funding. And also we want to thank DoIT, especially Gar Clark. He is doing unbelievable support for us in this project. So I think that's the end of the presentation. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you again.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. This is really, really interesting stuff. So we had a couple questions come in on the chat. So I guess at this point, the image collection will continue maybe as long as you have funding. Is there a end date or at all?
Sorry, you were cut off a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was just asking, how long will the image collection continue? Is it open-ended?
Yeah, it is open-ended. So we don't have a cutoff date for the aerial photo collection, but with when the funding stopped, we may not be able to continue do the georeferencing or digitizing. But the collection of the image, anybody, if they want to contribute, we are still happy to get them. But like I said, I'm looking for additional funding to keep the program running. Yeah, but that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the project sustainability thing, because we just did this major initiative, so we want to continue going on. So yes, we are happy to receive any new contributions, and if the collection will be definitely continue. But as of now, we just focus on the historical photos, especially from 1934 to 1987. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. So another question, if contributors have if they've already geo-referenced some historical imagery, do you want that uploaded, or is this an overall effort? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's another great question. If that is already pre-geo-referenced, and then we don't have to geo-reference, which is great. We don't have to digitize them, of course. So if they upload them, we could just use them. We can just put it as part of the archive. Yes, that's going to be a straightforward process. So, and then we'll make them webly, web, kind of like web published, and also, publicly accessible. So anybody can access them. Of course, we want to the contributor agree with us that this is going to be shared before we post them, basically.
Right. Okay, here's another question. Is there a standard scanning resolution, and are the non-geo-reference scans available for download?
There's a standard scanning resolution. I think we are using. I think Sandeep can give me can probably put more information, but we are using. I think close to 1000 dpi, and the non-geo-referenced scans are, as of now, is not available for download. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we actually have more image than we need for this part of deliverable. So by the end of the project, if some of the image, we already digitize them, but we don't have time or funding to do the geo-referencing, we still can make them downloadable. But just the caveat is that it won't be geo-referenced, right? So you can download them and then use them, do the geo-referencing by yourself, no problem.
Okay. Next question. Is this connected to the USFS Region 3 Historic Aerial Photo Database that was developed a number of years ago? Is this project building on the work started there?
That's a good question. I think we have been actually talking to USFS Forest Services. I think right before the pandemic. We are aware of they are building a database, and as a matter of fact, we have been discussing some collaboration there. We wrote a kind of like a proposal to them, saying like how we interpret, how we envision the whole thing, and how we can make the two programs together. But I actually, the short answer, no, we haven't been able to go from there. Just we started the conversation. I know that they also have a lot of historical photos. So I think I'm gonna keep talking to them, follow up with them to see if this could be, we can evolve the collaboration there. But yes, definitely, that's something we have been considering.
Okay, and also, how can the public or other agencies access the images? I work for OSC in Santa Fe, and I know that EDAC has images we would like to use, but until now, seems like EDAC has either charged and or asked that people come in person. We don't have any budget for acquisitions. Coming from Kevin Woolmont.
Well, see, this is kind of like, so see, that's a good question. Firstly, great question. So this, in the program here, we designed in, we as a reason we talk about this, we are not just thinking about the whole New Mexico, right? The image. We are using surrogates, a part of New Mexico, especially the Grants mineral belt area, in the Farmington Grants area. We are primarily focusing on the historical photos in that area. So now, if we don't have the enough image in that area, we're gonna go beyond that area, expand to the whole, some area in the state. So if you are looking for an image that's not part of this collection, or at least a part of the, as a part of the grass mineral biota area, or the image we have been selected for web publishing, and then you want to be access the data at no cost as a part of the the projects supported by NARA or National Archives. So we, as EDAC, we still have our historical aerial photo services. We can provide that to you. So I know it's kind of like hard, because because they are not supported by NARA. So we, when we geo-reference them or scan them, it's actually as a cost of EDAC. And we are a soft money organization, so we do have to compensate our effort for that, to digitize and geo-reference them. So that's why you have been charged, right? So, but I encourage you to go to the NARA the website I mentioned to you before. Go there first, check it out if you have that image in that area. If not, yeah, then you have to go through our regular services through EDAC, basically. Yeah, I hope I answered that question.
All right, does anybody else have any follow-up comments or questions? I see the URL is in the chat window now,
Right.
historicalaerialphotos.org for us to check out. Okay. Okay, well, we had another answer. So Kevin Woolmut said, thanks for the answer. You should consider making some kind of deal where we trade images we have to you in exchange for access. We're capable of geo-referencing them ourselves. So there's always ideas, right?
Right.
Okay, well, does anyone else have any other questions or comments? Okay, well, I'd like to thank Dr. Zhang very much for the presentation. And I'd also like to congratulate Cassandra Uno for, she is the winner of our raffle today. So we'll be getting in touch with her. So anything else anyone wants to contribute before we sign off? Okay, thank you, Dr. Zhang.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
And thank you, everyone, for coming.